Hi, today I'd like to discuss the 5 myths about ADD or ADHD that are keeping yours or your child's health hostage. Now, dealing with ADD or ADHD is never easy, and between the day-to-day frustrations and all the misinformation, ADD or ADHD can really hold you or your child back and make life difficult. Now, millions of children and adults are impacted by ADHD, and so it's important to learn the truth. For most, this begins with dispelling myths. So here are 5 of the most common myths that unfortunately can hold adults and their children back from living a healthier life. Let's clear up these myths and talk about the facts. Myth number 1 is that ADD or ADHD isn't real. A lot of people believe that ADD or ADHD isn't real, that it's just laziness or lack of discipline. In fact, many think it shouldn't even be classified as a medical disorder. But the truth is that ADD or ADHD is very real and affects almost 10% of U.S. children. It's true that a lot of children have a bit of trouble focusing or have a little too much energy. But when these things get out of control, then ADD or ADHD may be the cause. Myth number 2 is that ADD or ADHD only affects children and that they'll outgrow it. But while ADD or ADHD is more common and more easily diagnosed in children, a lot of people struggle with this condition well into adulthood. In fact, studies show that up to 70% of children will continue to have significant symptoms into adulthood that impact work, relationships, addiction, etc. It's estimated that over 4% of American adults have ADD or ADHD. And these numbers may be underreported, as many adults experiencing symptoms go undiagnosed. They write it off as just a personality trait. ADD or ADHD can actually be worse with adults. With the stress and the daily frustration and challenges of adulting, symptoms can get worse. You can start to feel overwhelmed, leading to issues with everything from work to relationships. This is the part of the reason why so many adults with ADD or ADHD struggle with anxiety, depression, or addiction. Now, myth number 3 is that only boys get ADD or ADHD, or it's just boys being boys. It's a common myth that ADD or ADHD only affects boys. And while the reported number of boys to girls is about 3 to 1, that's still a lot of young girls who are struggling with this condition. And part of the reason that girls aren't diagnosed as often is that their symptoms tend to be different and more subtle. So while the symptoms boys experience are external, such as impulsivity and hyperactivity, girls tend to experience internalized symptoms, such as low self-esteem and inattentiveness. They're also less likely to be disruptive and thus often fly under the radar. Now, myth number 4 is that ADD or ADHD means that you're lazy or just not trying hard enough. And having ADD does not mean that you're lazy or just not trying hard enough. It's a real problem that can be identified in the brain using a test called a QEEG or a brain map. A lot of successful, hard-working people also have ADD or ADHD. People like Simone Biles, Justin Timberlake, Howie Mandel. They're able to manage the symptoms of their condition while still enjoying the creativity and spontaneity that comes with it. ADD or ADHD can be hard, but with treatment, it can absolutely become manageable. Myth number 5, medication is the only treatment that works. Why are medications the go-to answer for treating ADD or ADHD? Well, the quick answer is that it's easy. The more accurate answer is that the parents don't really know the other options. Sure, the nosy neighbor says stricter discipline, and the overwhelmed teacher says no sugar, more involved parenting. But simply put, medication is an expedient solution to the problem. There's a lot of pressure to put kids on medication. We live in a magic pill, fixes everything society. Thanks to the big pharmaceutical and insurance companies, choices for any kind of non-medical health care are virtually non-existent. They are categorized into an alternative healthcare avenue equal to snake oil cures. And that's not okay. So when the doctor writes a prescription for a bouncing off the walls, hyperactive child whose impulsiveness leads to trouble with everyone and everything, most parents will just nod and agree. Perhaps with misgivings and feelings of foreboding, but still they will agree to it, because no other option is usually given. ADHD is the most diagnosed behavioral issue doctors see in children, with 10% of American school-aged children having been medically diagnosed. It's just that common. It's so common that doctors and insurance companies have a go-to response for ADHD. They start with Ritalin and then try Adderall and work their way down through the list. And this has been going on for over 40 years. The thing is, these medications are very powerful and come with serious side effects. What many parents don't realize is that Ritalin is a Schedule II narcotic, along with cocaine, morphine, and amphetamines. Schedule II is a designation used for substances that have a recognized medical value, but also have a high potential for abuse. And that's a scary thought. Responding to ADD or ADHD with amphetamines like Ritalin seems a little disheartening considering all the effort we make to raise healthy children. It's a simple fact. Medication for ADHD or ADD is not the only nor the best path. According to Dr. Daniel Amen and the Amen Clinics, there are 7 kinds of ADD, and only one responds well to medication anyways. That's often why individuals with ADHD suffer a roller coaster ride of taking the meds until they can no longer tolerate the side effects or they develop an immunity to the medication. Fortunately, there absolutely is a better answer. In addition to the standard recommendations like getting the diet right, cutting down or better yet cutting out sugar, processed foods, eliminating junk foods, increasing fresh water intake and vegetables and fruits and healthy fats and quality proteins, getting checked for allergies, minimizing screen time, etc. Really, the most important in the first step is to get the diagnosis right in the first place. Using cutting-edge technology, we utilize a QEEG, a quantitative electroencephalogram, to create a brain map. A brain map is simply a snapshot of what the brain is doing, what brain waves are active, and to what level. And if the QEEG brain map shows that there are imbalances in the brain, then one of the best, most cost-effective, and natural ways to relieve the symptoms of ADD or ADHD is neurofeedback. Neurofeedback is a technology that uses sensors placed on the scalp to read and measure brain waves, and then feed back that information to the brain to tell the brain where it's overreacting and where it's underreacting. Using this information, the brain can actually begin to change and heal itself. That's pretty amazing stuff. Neurofeedback is completely natural, safe, and effective, a way to strengthen your brain and reduce the symptoms of ADD or ADHD and a number of other brain-based issues, such as symptoms associated with anxiety, depression, OCD, etc. So if you're serious about taking control and discovering a solution that could well be the last one you will need, then I invite you to contact us today at 800-789-9061 for a free consultation to find out how we can help you and or your child. Again, call 800-789-9061 24 hours a day, and I will personally call you back and discuss your unique situation for free. Thank you and have a nice day.